Warning before we start, I'm going to spoil all 3 endings of Armored Core in this video. Multiple endings is nothing new to games, and often gives players a way to enjoy multiple playthroughs. Also common for these games is to have a bad end because of mistake or dubious choice on the part of the player. Armored Core favors certain paths, calling you a Liberator of Rubicon in one ending, and a monster that burned the stars in another. What's fascinating, in spite of how FromSoft characterizes these endings, the bad ending is in fact the best. So what makes Fires of Raven the best ending? To explain that, let's look at the other 2 endings. First, we have Liberator of Rubicon. This is the standard good ending of the game. Raven joins forces with his buddy Rusty to fight Argopus and force them off Rubicon, allowing the native residents to gain their freedom. After beating the snotty villain, V2 Snail, you celebrate, but Rusty's comms suddenly go dark. Raven sets off to take down the engines of the floating city's island before it can crash into the coral and trigger a world-ending event. Once the engines are destroyed, Raven is attacked by his former boss, Handler Walter, apparently trying to fight off some sort of brain reconditioning that Argopus put him through. While the Xylem starts to burn up in the planet's atmosphere, Raven must fight Walter and escape before they are incinerated on re-entry. In a final moment of clarity, Walter explains that 61 has finally made a friend and goes down with his Xylem as Raven escapes.
You found a friend.
As the story ends, Raven and Air contemplate what future awaits for humanity and Coral. The ending falls short in 2 places. One, the mind control on Handler Walter seems like a cop-out. FromSoft doesn't want him to come off as a bad guy. Walter has sacrificed countless people to get to Rubicon. Raven has killed his longtime friend Carla. There's plenty of motivation for Walter to want to kill his former employee. It makes Walter a tragic victim of fate, rather than a man with a specific goal and the will to accomplish that goal no matter what. The second is that the Xylem has already been stopped. This makes the stakes of the fight lower. Survival is certainly a high stake, but it's been that way for every fight in the game. Having the fate of the entire planet on the line would have made the fight much bigger. Putting your boss out of his misery while you escape does pull on the heartstrings, but it doesn't have the gravitas of the other endings. Next, we have the secret ending called Laa EST, Latin for the die has been cast, which is considered the true ending of the game. Allmind, a powerful AI behind the mercenary support group, wants to trigger an event called the Coral Release, which will cause the coral to replicate exponentially, transforming the galaxy and humanity in the process. In order to do this, Allmind needs to kill and assimilate Raven and Air, something our protagonists aren't going to let happen. In order to accomplish this, she manipulates G4, Iguazu, into giving him his body for the power to finally beat Raven and prove that he's better than him once and for all. Allmind regrets this choice as Iguazu's narcissistic rage makes him too erratic to control. Iguazu is defeated, like he was several times earlier in the game, and states in his last word that he has always envied Raven, and explodes. With Allmind out of the way, the Coral Release triggers, and Raven wakes up on some sort of strange beach with a crazy-looking phenomenon in the sky. The main issue with this ending is that Iguazu isn't suited to be a final villain. His motivations are petty and personal. There's no grand vision or cause that makes the fight seem smaller because of it. The mechs and the setup are top-notch. The fight is challenging. Your Coral GF joining the fight by your side is awesome, but Iguazu dominates too much of the fight and brings it down with his loser energy. I will say it was a twist since the Allmind final boss was obvious for most of the playthrough. Then to have Iguazu show up and do the fighting was unexpected, though they do a good job of hinting that he can hear Coral voices throughout the game. Though as the last boss, you want it to be larger than life, and the game spends the whole time showing you that he's a loser. From abandoning his friend to die at the wall, to hiring an assassin to kill you when he can't do it himself, to chickening out rather than fight Nepenthes. Like, how are you going to believe this guy is a threat now that he's got All Might backing him up? You almost feel mean beating him again. Finally, we get to the bad ending. The best ending. The fires of Raven. Having decided to help Cinder Carla crash the Xylem into the coral siphon, which will cause the annihilation of the coral and turn the planet into a fiery hellscape, Raven has to fight his buddy Rusty one last time. Having been revealed to be a Rubiconian trying to defend his homeland from corporate exploitation, even with his new suit, he's no match for you, accepting defeat as he blows up. Shortly after, the Xylem is hit with a laser from the satellite defense system. Carla is shocked because no one could have taken control of it in time. It is soon revealed that air, the sentient coral energy that has been accompanying you, is behind it. Despite the fact that she loves Raven, she could not support him genociding her entire race, and tells him to go to the Closure satellite, where they will finish this conflict. After a tough fight, and even with a powerful Ibis series mech, Air is still unable to stop Raven, and fades away, saying that she still believes. Carla manually crashes the ship into the coral siphon and the coral is burned. Rubicon is deemed a dead planet and abandoned. Raven forever going down in infamy as the monster that burned the stars. So why is this the best ending when it's clearly the saddest? Everyone you know is dead, and you kill your coral waifu too. Well, it's the best because it's the most impactful. The fight between Raven and Air has personal emotion and ideological differences. It's bittersweet as there's a mix of love and hate, with two people choosing different paths that can only allow one of them to survive. Unlike Walter, Air has the conviction to kill you, despite her feelings for you. And because you want to kill her entire race. It's believable. Unlike Iguazu, the reasons to fight are more than personal. Though Air does seem upset about being rejected, there's still regret at having to fight. So the personal conflict adds a parallel to the larger conflict, both being tragic but necessary. And it fits the mood of the game the best. Rubicon is a world of survival, where morals are irrelevant in the face of strength. The planet is brutal, and the idea of the conflict crescendoing into a fiery disaster where no one wins seems like a fitting end. That's it for the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Please support me by giving me a like. Subscribe if you want more videos. Have a wonderful day.
Yet history would forever remember the fires of Raven.